Hello and welcome to Simon Says Dev, where I try to simplify your web development. Today we are looking at how to execute JavaScript in Visual Studio Code. So before we do that, we need to understand that Visual Studio Code on its own cannot run JavaScript. So basically, we have to leverage the power of Node.js. Now, Node.js is a JavaScript runtime built on Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. So basically, Node.js is running the JavaScript in the background. Visual Studio Code is just an IDE which helps you to write code. Alright, so these are few steps which you need to follow. First, you need to install Node.js, you need to install Visual Studio Code, and there are a couple of more extensions which we'll be looking at on the Visual Studio Code environment. Alright, so let's see how to install Node.js first. Alright, to install Node.js, go to your search engine, type Node.js. Go to the first link which you see. It will take you to Node.js official website. At any given point of time, you might see two versions. One is the LTS version and second is the current version. Always choose the LTS version. LTS stands for long-term support, which will have fewer errors or bugs as compared to the current version. LTS is probably the most stable one, so download that and install it. It's pretty straightforward. Second, you have to install Visual Studio Code. Again, type Visual Studio Code in your search engine, go to the Visual Studio Code's official website, and you can download Visual Studio Code from there. Alright, so now once your dev environment is set up, now let's get into Visual Studio Code and see what else do you need. Alright, so once you are inside your Visual Studio Code IDE, the first thing you'll have to do is go into extensions and search for JavaScript ES6. Alright, so once you do that, go to this option, JavaScript ES6 code snippets. Install that. So this is already installed in my machine, so I can't install it again. So you'll get an install option, so you can do that. Once that is done, you can go back to your search box and search for Code Runner. Alright, so Code Runner, so go for this option. Again, you'll get an install option over here. Do that. So these two extensions are required for running JavaScript along with Node.js in your Visual Studio Code extension. Alright, once you have all your extensions installed, now you can start writing JavaScript code and test it with your Visual Studio Code. Alright, so for that, first you'll have to create a new file. Save that file. I'm gonna name it JavaScript test.js. Always make sure to give it a .js extension so that the IDE recognizes it as a JavaScript file. Alright, so now let's first print hello world. So .log hello world. Alright, so now on your Visual Studio Code, on the top right corner, you can see the run code, which is basically the Code Runner extension. So you can click that and you'll see the output of the JavaScript code down here in the output section. Alright, so let's write something more interesting. Let's say I take up a variable. Let test variable is equal to some random string, and I want to convert this string into an array. So I'll write test variable dot split. Alright, so now let's console log it. Console dot log. Alright, now let's run this code, and you'll see the output that I have this array where all my characters of the string are split into elements of the array. Alright, so like this, you can write any amount of JavaScript on this page or on this file, and you can test it out with your Visual Studio Code with the help of Node.js and the other extensions which we saw. I'm sure there are many other ways you can run the JavaScript files in Node.js and in Visual Studio Code, but this is the way I do it. I hope this was helpful. See you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching the video. Bye bye.